Still saying no sound there, mate.
Wait a minute. There you go. We'll start again. We'll start again.
No sound.
No, because I forgot to press the fucking button, didn't I? So we're back. We're back.
We're back.
I've got to fuck up somewhere, You've got sound now because I can't press a button. I can't press two buttons that bring sound on. And they're called mute. So it's a Wednesday night, mixing with Benny and friends. We have got friends on. Bobo, he's having computer trouble, so I will go through all that again. So he hopefully will be on and be joining us shortly. We have got Graham, Net Reality, our vaping mixing guru. We've also got Bill, down the corner, Kentucky Bill, and we've also got Simon WOFTAM from the OGA crew on. So I said that like 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was like the deja vu, really, but it's all good.
It's a
we had an echo.
Show, you see, is this? That's the thing. It's professional. So we'll go back. We'll go around again. What we're vaping on. So we'll start with Bill, as we were doing before.
Yeah, I thought we just had one real long echo, and it just started. Yeah, I'm just on a couple of things. I'm on the Minikin V2 with the Zeus Sebum on it, and in that I've got strawberry cheesecake, and I have a battery that just fell, and I'm on half of the topside light with the Creed, and in that I have "You Need This in Your Life," and that's it. Other than that, I'll throw it down to Graham. You know.
Okay, I've got quite a lot, but I'm just going to keep it short. I've got the Minikin V3 with the Callan Mini 2 on top, and in that I've got some raspberry cheesecake. I've got the DJV with the Steam Crave on top, and in that I've got some lemon tart, which are...
You don't really have to show those bottles, you know that, right?
Okay, I've got some lemon tart, which I can't get right. That's up to number 17 version. And I've got the Creed with my new mod. I've got a new mod.
Look at that. Can you see it though?
Yeah, hairdresser mod, according to Mick.
Hairdresser mod.
Which is the Ultrona Gaia, which is £32 at the moment on, where is it? Everzon?
Everzon.
They've got some right deals coming up on Friday, haven't they?
Yeah. Look, Everzon tend to not. They don't want to hold stock, and they throw it out at ridiculous prices. Sometimes.
Yeah,
some of the bargains they have.
What's that? Really Camilda Modern Things, £30.
Yeah, no, and that's a ripper mod. I actually run one daily. It's actually in the car at the moment. I sort of looked on my desk. I was going to hit it this morning, but yeah, I love it. It's a good little mod.
But I was worried about ordering from them, and that took 10 days to come.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's really good, and that's on the lowest postage and packaging, not the priority.
Yeah, well, if you
I'll pass it over to Simon.
If you've got friends like Graham, then he sends you them through when they've got sales on and makes you spend.
How terrible.
Now, you might see a bit of a theme with a few of the mods that I've got running today, but I'll start with the ones that are not in that theme. All right, so I've got the Hive V3, and that's got Disgusted in it, which is one of mine. All of these are my juices, so it's sort of going to be a bit boring that way. I've got the SX with a Voltrove with a homemade bubble glass, which was kind of cool to do. What else I got here? I customized my Saga a little bit.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh.
And that's got a Voltrove V3 on it. I got the Infected Black with a Voltrove V2 on it. I got the customized, I ripped all the paint off it, Infected with a Voltrove V2 on it. This is the theme, Voltros. I've got another, that's a homemade one as well, which is a bit of a beast actually, with the LE Voltrove 35mm on it. By beast, I mean beast.
Wow.
So runs at about 16 volts, I think it is, and will punch up to 700 watts if you really wanted to do that.
Wow.
But I don't.
Do you make all them yourself then?
I made that one myself.
Right.
And I customized that one myself. So
that was good.
How did you do the bubble glass? You said you did
the bubble glass. I was mucking around with bubble glasses, right? Because the Voltrove holds, I think it's about 10 mil. The bubble glass on this, the Voltrove Mini is 30 mil, and that is a bubble glass from a Homogenizer kit. It needed to be shortened by 0.5 millimeter on each end to actually fit the mod. So I basically got some wet and dry and sat there and sanded it down.
I just had this image of you kind of.
Oh no, I wasn't blowing
glass.
Yeah, no. but yeah, like it's a really good little, and you can do it with most tanks. Most tanks, if they've got the same diameter, you can actually, it's the glass length that varies, and you can play around with them, and you can throw a bubble glass on things if you have something that's roughly the same diameter, and just shorten the glass just with some wet and dry. I mean, it takes a little while, but I mean, it's a good fun project if you want to have a play with things and just tinker around. So
you could lengthen the chimney.
Yeah. Well, see, to lengthen the chimney, that's where you've got to shorten the glass. If it's too
well, that's what I'm saying. You could just, if you need to shorten the glass, instead of doing that, you could lengthen the chimney.
Well, yeah, but you generally got to machine it up then. Yeah, like you could probably do it, but it's much easier to shorten the glass than lengthen the chimney. but I've played around with different bubble glasses and stuff, and there's a couple of interchangeable ones. Like there was one I bought from the States, and I can't remember what mod it was. What tank it was, but I found that the Valerian bubble glass fitted it perfectly. Now the Valerian bubble glass is like $2. Right. If I had have bought it, I think it was the isolation, might have been the isolation tank, but if I had have bought the bubble glass, it was going to cost me $32 to buy the actual glass, the bubble glass that went with the tank. So I went with the $2 option, and it fitted perfectly. So, playing around with different glasses on different atomizers can be a bit of a win sometimes, and a bit of fun too. You tend to have a bit of a jigsaw in front of you at times.
Mr. Anderson's saying a cheap diamond sharpening plate would be quicker.
Yeah, it would. Don't have one though, and I did have some wet and dry. So I just put it on a flat surface and just rolled it for a little while. Didn't take a long time, but like playing around with mods and making them do what you want them to do is kind of fun sometimes. Like modding your mod.
We've got a B. We haven't got a ball, but we've got a B.
We got a B. Yeah.
We're still looking for an oboe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, passing it on.
Anybody in chat got an oboe? Yeah.
Graham, what you on?
No, it's passed to you, Benny, because Graham's already went. Yeah.
Oh, Graham's already gone. Sorry, have you been, Bill?
I've been. You started with me.
Hello.
It's you, Benny.
Right, so I'm on the DJV with the Dead Rabbit version 3 from Vaporesso. Boards RDA. It's just a Dead Rabbit version 2. So, and in that I've got some Bruce Bros Nebula. I'm also on the Rigel with the Intake Dual, and in that I've got some Sick Boy Sicker Than Most. And it's like a strawberry cheesecake thing. So, and that is me. That is me. So just before we start off, there's a couple of things I do want to shout out. Vaping Disc One is having a charity raffle. So if you go over to Vaping Disc One, there is a charity raffle going on there. It's £2.50 a ticket. So if you just message him if you do want a ticket, there is some things to be won. Also, Paul McCartney Vape Don't Smoke is having a charity raffle. If you go over to his Facebook group, jump in there, and there's loads of stuff to be won on there. There's Stabwood mods and all sorts. So, a couple of places to jump in, have a look. There's some charity stuff going on just for Christmas to help people out. And I also said I'd shout Hip Hop Juice is having a Black Friday sale because I forgot to shout it out on Sunday. So go over to Hip Hop Juice and see that. Right, Bill, do you want to jump through chat right quick?
I can try to.
We can ask Bobo what he's vaping on.
Oh yeah, Bobo. Sorry, Bobo, what are you vaping on, mate? Sorry.
He teleported in.
All right, we have got. So Bobo's here as Mixing Jesus is in.
Yeah.
So yeah, my internet completely crapped out at like 2 minutes to 9. It's not having none of it. I'm using my phone as a portable hotspot now, so if it's a bit shit, that's why. I am vaping on a Net Magma with a Calito 120 on top of there. I will be vaping on the Vapor SO4s in a minute when I put the new coil in it. Inside both of them, I'll have Nasty Juice, the pink one. What's it called? Wicked Haze. I've also got the big boy, which I am going to actually mix some juice tonight at some point during the show, and I'm going to vape it through there. And I've got the boost. That's everything. Oh, today's being hard work, you know. Yeah, Bill, do you want to go through chat, la?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll start out. Red, good evening. How you doing? John Cole. I'm going to say it my way. We have Kentucky Ray Views. Stuart Hilton, Net Reality. Simon, how you doing? Vaping Mank, Tony, Blazing Vapes, Mr. Anderson, Fee, Gary F, Mark H, Hooked on Funk, Flint Man, Sheboygan, how you doing?
Is it going slow, Bill? Are we on a telecaster like, you know?
I'm still going down through. It's the same people typing. Dion, you waited until they got a chance to type a bunch. The Vaping Heed, Sparks and Fly, and a couple of same ones typing again. Rocky Tooney, Albert Valentine, Craig Brown, Louis Fishin.
Mr. Brown.
I'm thinking all these names look familiar.
Hey, Bill, you're pretty
Sam M. It's like you get one name, then you got to skip 35 to get to another name. Best Sig E-Liquid. How you
Andy,
doing?
welcome.
Yeah. Andy, Frankenmiser.
There's a few in that Bill. We're going to be out all night if Bill keeps doing
Yeah,
that.
right. Fucking Vapor. Well, like I said, I get one name, then you got to scroll down 2 pages, and then you get another name that hasn't been on there.
All right, everyone, just log in and change your name.
Yeah, just on purpose.
Keep changing your names.
And we're at the bottom, so hopefully I got you. If I didn't, then you should have typed sooner at the top. That's it.
Yeah, so thank you very much for everybody joining us. Like I say, we have got a special guest. He's on the OGA show. We have had the other OGAs on. We had Tam, we've had Zippy, and we've had Liam on that has been on there. And we've now got the last remaining member of OGA, which is WOFTAM Simon. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. If you might have guessed, he's not from America and he's not from the UK. He's from Japan.
Yes. Ohio gozaimasu. Yes.
And that should be perfectly apparent to everyone.
Yeah. So thank you for getting up early for us, because it is early in your over there, isn't it? I don't know. It's about
it's getting on now. I mean, the kids are getting ready for school now, so you'll probably hear them stomping around like crazy people as kids do. But yeah, it's just after 8 now. So, but all good. It's summertime is a good thing because everything changes time wise for us here. So
that's good.
It means everything's back an hour, and it totally stuffs when you're doing shows and stuff like that. It totally stuffs you up, because working out who's on summertime, what time it is for someone else somewhere else is just, it makes your brain explode. But it's all good. I made it, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, like I say, thank you for joining us. Like I say, I know it's early in your time, like so. We've got Mark's flashlight in.
Flashlight.
Yes, Mark's flashlight. Yes, but he didn't come in until then. And the reason I don't do that, Stuart, is just click on participants, is because then you miss anybody that hasn't typed in the last few minutes. The participants list is real short. Yeah.
Yeah, Uptown Funk saying you've missed loads of people, but sorry if we missed anybody. We do apologise. So
No,
if you
I
have
said
got
net.
any question, we did have one come in, which was which were a little bit earlier when we were going round, was from Craig Brown. Anyone know the recommended steep time for Capella Cola?
Probably about a week, maybe a bit less.
Yeah, I'd say around a week. I haven't used Capella Cola. I haven't used a cola for quite some time because when I mix with them, I always want that effervescence. It's like, you get a cola, but it's a flat cola, and you sort of, it's like when you wake up in the morning after a night on the Terps and you grab the closest thing to you and have a drink of it. It's that flat cola with rum in it that you had the night before.
Yeah, usually what I think is it tastes more. Most of the colas taste more like when you go here, you've got your major brands, and then usually there's the store brand.
Yeah,
and they're a little flatter. And all of the colas taste like those store brands colas do. It's just kind of bleh, So you steep it for a week and then dump it in the trash. So that's basically what the answer is.
I'd highly recommend Alfred Pudding's 007 cola though. If you're looking to make your own cola, that's a pretty good one. So it's a nice mix.
Oh,
But,
Craig,
well, we've all done that, Craig. Drunk orders, nothing wrong with that, mate.
So how long have you been mixing then, Simon?
Well, I was mixing single flavors. I started off, and the very first juice that I tasted was an apple from Naked 100, I think it was, and it just did not suit me at all. And that was back in 2015, and I started mixing, I did a bit of research, and this stupid site ELR kept coming up, and every time I did a search for something, this site came up, and I'm like, what the hell is this? But anyway, I started mixing single flavors and did that for probably a year. And sometimes I'd get a bit daring and might do two together, like a raspberry and a cream, and it was, So probably 2015, but recipe wise, because I don't class a single flavor as a recipe, probably early 2016 I started mixing the more recipes than just single flavors. So it's been a little while now,
right?
But it was a bit of an evolution because there was no one around where I live who vaped at all. So no one to ask, no one, so Google was my friend, and pretty much ELR came up on every single search that I did on every single flavor that I wanted to look at. And I only found out about the forum really, a bit later, and sort of started, going to the forum for information because there's some really good information there. So, but it's been a minute.
Yeah,
but,
there's definitely a lot more information than what. Back in 2015, that's for definite.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the breadth of flavors that have come out in the last couple of years as well, like more complex flavors, whereas way back you had to build your own jam donut. Now you can pretty much get most of the elements from a single flavor, which makes it far less complex than it used to be. And,
yeah, definitely. Well, I used for the donut other day. I used that Joker.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's a lot of donut being the perfect example. There's a lot of really good concentrates which give you a fantastic building block to build on, and you just push forward what you want to push forward with something else. When it comes down to it, that old school mixing has sort of been lost a little bit, which is. It's a bit of a shame, but it's also an evolution, which makes it a lot easier for people to actually jump into mixing their own stuff, which is fantastic.
And that's half the problem we've said to people is that, you know, a lot of people have mixed before and they've done a really shite mix. They've just given up.
Yeah.
Now you can go on ELR and you can find, or even on Vaping Forum on the vaping calculator, you can go on there and you can find everybody's recipes and some really banging recipes on there now.
The issue that's sort of arisen over time, I suppose, with ELR is that the older recipes have always floated to the top because they've simply been there for so long.
Yeah.
They've got more stars, they've got more reviews, and a lot of people jumping into mixing will go back to an old school mix and mix it and vape it on a more modern device and won't get the result that they want. Because back in the day, the devices were a whole lot different. The flavouring percentages were a lot higher. And it's sort of, to a degree, it still is a bit of a minefield with picking a recipe that will work in the device you're using now.
So you should go to the vape community because it's a newer.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it would have newer mixes in it as opposed to the older ones, all of the ones that are in there.
A little bit biased on that build, but yeah, look, when it comes
Yeah,
down,
I mean, from what you're describing there, though, that is, I mean, basically that's a truth, because it's not going to have a lot of the old mixes unless people moved them over. And if they did move them over, they've probably upgraded them because they realized they're still mixing them.
Yeah.
So what's your profile? Are you more of a desserts guy, or are you more of
fruits and desserts, custards, not so much cereal. I don't touch tobacco at all. So yeah, like I'm a little bit all over the place, but I mean my hard and fast rule is I started vaping to get off tobacco. I don't want to go and vape it, and a lot of people say that it's a hole, I guess, in my knowledge that I probably should fill, but I have no real need to because it's not something that I want to vape.
No,
it's. And that's a personal preference. So, like I'm a little bit, custard, a little bit fruits, creams, desserts, like chocolate pies and stuff like that. So I've got a fairly broad spectrum of what I like, but there is, but I draw the line at tobacco, and it's just a personal preference, not that it tastes terrible to me. It's just I don't get excited by it. I don't, want to go down that track. Not because I think it's going to lead me back to smoking. Since it's been so long since I've had a cigarette, it's not going to draw me back into smoking in any way, but it's just something that I have no real massive interest in. So I haven't sort of...
I always feel like tobacco's it's the rabbit hole within the rabbit hole. So you go down the rabbit hole of all the fruits and everything like that, and then there's tobacco sitting there going, couldn't you not get down that one?
Look, I mean, a lot of people now are using tobaccos as modifiers to creams and stuff like that, and custards. And if that's what floats your boat, then great. Like if you find your niche where you're happy, just trundle along in your niche.
Do you have an older vape that you find yourself that you've been vaping? I mean, not necessarily constantly, but something that you vaped in like 2 years ago, but that's like, it just keeps.
I've got a mix that I still vape daily that's 4 years old. And it's like, I tend to be fairly low on my flavor, and there's a reason for that, but this particular mix is like 17%. and I still like it, and I still like it at fairly high wattage. It's just one of those mixes that and it's a caramel butterscotch cheesecake, which like it's a really nice mix, and it's got some weird ass percentage in it. Like it's got 1.5% of Flavor Art marzipan. and if I was to make that today, I'd just go, there'd be no way I'd use 1.5% Flavor Art marzipan, but in that mix it just works for me. So it's a weird one. I think the 1.5% Flavor Art marzipan is so high that it actually mutes itself a bit. So, but you know, and I could probably change it. But if you're going to tinker with something that just works, then you know, every chance you're going to break the whole thing and have to start again anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just leave it as it is, and I've always got it in a tank, and I always hit it. So, you know,
Folks,
it's one of those mixes.
Shane Gibson saying that when I go out in my local area, vaping everyone backs off. They think I'm spreading COVID.
Well, see, the thing is, you can see that when it comes out. I was thinking that before. When you're vaping and you blow a cloud, everybody can tell where your breath went to, and they're like, "Ooh, got to stay away from this." So you kind of get that barrier you want. That's it.
I'll just say hi to Pugs. But on that COVID thing, I've when COVID sort of first started becoming a major issue, there was a lot of stuff going around about, you know, from the antis about how vapors were would be more susceptible to COVID and all that sort of shit. There's actually been studies in both China and I think Italy and France that have determined that nicotine actually people who use nicotine, as in smokers and vapors, are not as the percentage of users is not representative in the COVID stats.
France has started issuing patches now, nicotine patches.
Spain, Spain was doing it, I think, weren't they?
Yeah, there's a couple of studies out, and they were saying, you know, like particularly China, where I think about 25 or 30% of the males smoke. In their COVID stats, those smokers only represented about 2.5% of the people who actually got COVID. So they started looking at a correlation between nicotine blocking the COVID receptors and you know, actually being better for you than, you know, not having nicotine. So that was an interesting one. And the other thing is that we're using PG and that is a natural antibacterial. Whether it does anything for a virus, I've got no idea. But it's really interesting that the ants go, "Oh, you're going to get COVID if you vape," and then you know, you look at the stats, and apparently the stats are the complete reverse of what's being said.
Well, they never know what you're going to get when you vape. Everybody's always telling you you're going to get this or that. You don't. But what's your take on sweeteners? Do you like sweeteners? Do you like to add them? Do you say the stuff's sweet enough? Or
I tend not to use sweetener at all. The one thing I would say to people, and a lot of people do it as a reflex action, is when they're mixing, the first thing they put in is they add their 0.5% super sweet, you know, straight off the bat. If you are making a recipe, I don't use sweetener unless I find that I need it later on down the track. So I will mix it if I find that it's got a little, you know, needs a little bit of sweetening, then I will sweeten it, but I use stevia rather than super sweet. A little test, I don't know whether you know Pippa Starr from DIY Down Under. I was on her show a couple of months back, and a little test that I got her to do, and I would suggest everyone that uses super sweet try this, is get a glass of water and put 2 drops of super sweet in it. And
I ran out of sugar, so I started using super sweet. Jesus Christ, 2 drops, and I'm like, that's like 3 spoons.
It is.
But the thing that it comes down to is, the thing that it boils down to is, I have a sweet tooth. I like sweet. All right. Yep. And the other thing is just because I up my to 1% or whatever I want to put in it, and I vape it, I'm not going to gain 50 pounds. I'm not going to, my teeth aren't going to rot out. I'm not. You know, so it's not hurting anything if you are a sweet fan. And it's like when you're talking about stevia or whatever else, well, okay, yeah, if you're putting it in coffee, you may want to go with the sweet and low versus the regular sugar because you're not. But vaping wise, sweet is sweet. I don't really, in a lot of cases,
not quite, Bill. The sweeteners, the different sweeteners will sit in a mix differently. Oh, we lost Benny. But the sweeteners will sit in a mix differently. If you use super sweet for me sits on top of the mix. All right, so it's an inherent sweetness over the top of the mix, and I get a slight waxy sort of feel in my mouth after I've baked something with sweetener, which a lot of people like and a lot of people don't. But Stevia for me tends to sit in the mix. It's more of a low down sweetener, if you like. So when you're using sweetener, I would and this is my personal opinion on sweetener. I mean, I have never had a problem with everyone using sweetener. What I do have a problem with is when it's a reflex action to put it in every mix, because quite often there's in some of the flavorings that you use, they will be sweet, and you will get enough sweetener out of a concentrate. And if my first reflex is, if I need a sweetener, is to use a different concentrate which is sweeter. So
I did that with that donut. When I said I use that to make a donut base, and then I put some one-on-one jam, strawberry jam in it, and a bit of Bavarian cream, and I put some sweetener in it. I put 0.5% sweetener in it. Oh my god, it was so sweet I couldn't vape it.
Yeah,
it would just.
But there are also a lot of concentrates that already have a sweetener in them. There's a bunch from Capella which contains stevia. There's a bunch from TFA and Capella and Flavor that do actually contain some sucralose. So while I'm personally sort of try to resist using the sweetener.
Peach with stevia right there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So there's their pear is also a stevia mix as well. The trick for me is to find a level of sweetness which isn't sugar lips sweet. I'm not a fan of sugar lips sweet, but I like everyone else like something that's sweet. But I tend to use a flavour to sweeten rather than a direct sweetener.
Saying, does stevia sweetener also have that taste of diet soft drink? Because they use it on that, don't they?
No, it doesn't.
It depends. It can do. The stevia, if you mix your own, I mix my own stevia. So if you get Revsol A or Rev A, and if the purity of that will determine if you get that slight bitter note at the end that you get from a stevia. If it's in the 99% range, generally you don't get that slight bitter note. If it's under, you will get a slight bitter note. You'll notice that with a lot of coffee sweeteners, they use a powder in them called erythritol, which is another sweetener, but it's not. It's only about as sweet as VG is by itself.
Right.
But that slight bitter note that you get from, if you get that slight bitter note from stevia, if you add a little bit of erythritol to it, it actually removes that tail end bitter note. So using the two together in a mix is the same as using the two together in your coffee. And you tend to avoid that slight, funky note.
Wasn't there a trick with monk fruit?
Yeah, the monk fruit stevia, but that shit is hella expensive. That monk fruit,
I tried it.
Steam Pugs is asking Graham, is that your Altroner that came out?
And also they're saying he's going to be, I think, there you go, that's his new little toy. Looks rather nice. I know we had a thing on that. Scott Morrison says, will there ever be a topside dual 21700? I think there probably will be. Everybody's saying it'd be a bit heavy in that, but I think he'll go down that way. It might bring a single 27. I think in the one that you've got, Bill.
The topside light's a single 2700.
2700. Yeah, I think he'll go somewhere like that. I know they bring it. I think there's going to be a 21700 clutch.
Yeah,
I think that'll be next thing.
Yeah, look, I think most over time, most manufacturers will be moving to 21700. They are just a much better battery than the 18650. A lot safer amp draw wise, which is hella important for the vape community. So
yeah.
Well, if you're meching, I mean, if you're using them in regulated mods, 18650s are not really. It depends on the mod. Some of them draw an 18650 down real quick, but This thing here, I can put two 18650s in this Minikin 2, and I can vape it all day long, and it barely brings it down off the battery.
Yeah. Steampunk says he got easy. It was supposed to be red and it's blue.
Yeah, well, this is supposed to be red. It's pink.
It's stab wood, so you can't guarantee. It just comes out a different colour. Can't guarantee. So if anybody's got any questions for Simon in the chat, Bobo looks like he's having major problems tonight.
Yeah,
I think when we get him in, we'll spin the wheel for him, and then if he goes off, he can do some mixing and come back.
Fuck my internet, yeah. So yeah, any questions that you want to ask, get them in, because now's the time, like I say, when we've got these experienced mixers in to get your questions in if you want to know anything. I've just got.
You wanted a question, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Right, so I quite liked Batman's guava flaky pastry.
Yep.
But I keep asking Graham, and I want a flaky pastry. So how?
The only thing I could come up with, croissant, vape trains, croissant.
Croissant. I would probably use a combination of croissant and maybe 101 pie crust down low. If you could use also the FA apple pie, because the apple note in that is very light.
Right.
And it would actually add to your guava quite nicely. The flaky pastry is one of those things that you sort of, it's more of a vibe than a taste.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the croissant would probably fit in quite nicely. Yeah. Oh, of course. And as
egg yolk. Yeah, you've got to have that egg yolk in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be my call. Would be the croissant and maybe some 101 pie crust just to sort of sit in the bottom.
Right. It's just like I said, I quite like that flavour. It's not over pastry-ish. Do you know what I mean? It just gives you a nice pastry feeling in the backer sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I will have to.
Yeah, and not having tasted the juice, it's hard to sort of call what he's.
Oh, they're sweet. They are sweet.
Yeah. Look, it's funny actually how with different countries, the sweetness level and flavour levels changes so much.
Quick, spin the wheel.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel. I'll get
Puerto Rico does a lot of sweet. I mean, and that's the reason that they are. It's, they're everything that they eat dessert wise is extremely sweet sugar. Yeah, so that's the reason that his are.
Scott Brown
sweet.
saying, will PayPal screw the industry? I think people will struggle.
I think initially people will struggle, but the thing is with industries like the vape industry, we will adapt.
Oh yeah,
PayPal has given it their best shot, but people will adapt. It is someone will actually step in to that hole fairly quickly, I would imagine. There's a lot of options out there, but a lot of them are not sort of anti-vape, but not really pro either. But PayPal's doing its best to shut out the vape industry, and from what I've heard, unless you're doing 10 million a year, they won't even entertain having a vape.
Well, we're actually lucky in the UK because we have got some payment systems which are UK based. There's Sage Pay, which are based in Birmingham, No Checks, which is based in Canary Wharf, and they've been going for, well, it's Sage Pay, Sage accounting systems. So, and because they're based in the UK, they should have no problems with vaping.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually hoping that it is just a PayPal thing, because generally with merchant accounts and credit card processors, if the merchant accounts such as Visa and MasterCard, if they declare the vaping industry to be high risk, then that carries through.
I don't think it will be, because I think it's based. There's a company called Venture Capitalists. They also have shares in PayPal, and they've got shares in Philip Morris. Draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. Well, that's it. What amazes me is why PayPal is doing what it's doing, because eBay are cutting PayPal by 2024. So right now, as of this year, I think they're staging it so that they are farming out 20% of the transactions to a processor in, I want to say Switzerland. I'm not sure, but it's owned by them. But I mean, I don't know why they are doing what they're doing to PayPal, because they own PayPal.
Yeah.
So, you know, why would you sort of start
I just think it's a knee-jerk reaction that because they're getting a new you're getting a new government change, aren't you? And I think it's a bit of a.
Or are they?
Oh no, he's going now. When I said he's going now, he's took his bat and ball and said, "I'm going home."
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Look, I mean,
he's moving to Scotland to his golf club up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, lucky Scotland.
Vaping is saying, yeah, he finds a lot of American juice ass with there, and yeah, it's not a problem about joining in with. Hopefully, they can get a Bargain Vapes Live are having a charity stream for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're all sort of joining together. So hopefully, a few of us will join in. We're going to be the last one, so hopefully that'll come off. We did have a question. Gotta find it. Right, Flintman 1967 says best full flavoured traditional lemonade that retains the evanescence.
The effervescence part is super duper hard, right? Retaining it is super duper hard. The best additive that I've used to actually simulate that is probably a little bit of citric acid and some malic acid or TPA sour, depending on whether you've got that. Probably, I would suggest the best lemonade is probably Flavora. I love Flavora lemonade. It's a natural lemonade. But getting that effervescence, which is a fucking hard word to say, excuse me.
I use those two for the effervescence, which is the fizzy sherbet and the citrus punch together. You can use that down the citrus punch quite low.
Yep.
And the sherbet around about 2%. And add back to your lemonade. But the problem is that changes your lemonade.
Yeah, you want to get effervescence, you want to mix your mix and then try more or less additives. Like I think you can still buy the soda base from Real Flavors from DIY in Canada. That is probably the most successful one for longevity of that effervescence sort of feel, and it's transparent flavor wise. So if you mix your mix, you add in the RF soda base.
Yeah, you can still pick up that in Rainbow Vapes. That's still available.
Yeah, they'll still have it. So it's something that the longer that it steeps, the less it's present in everything. So if you're going to sort of hit it within a week, 2 weeks, you'll be fine, and you'll retain that effervescence. But if you leave it for a month, it'll sit right back, and you'll lose it to a degree.
Yeah, while you're on Steam, Pugs is touting while he's in there. Will you give him a vote? So yeah, EC Clip Awards are on. The Vape Community Forum is up there for a vote, and so is Steam Pugs himself for written reviewer. So if you do go over, have a look, and you're looking at who we can pick, there's a couple of there. Yeah. Please give him a tick. It does help them out.
I just want to add to that one. There's also the Vaping Community Facebook page, which hasn't been around for a long time, and I think we're currently sitting in third, which is pretty good there too.
Yeah.
And OGA.
As an underdog, OGA made it in there, which is amazing for me. And it's we're not going to win considering who we're up against. But, to be polling at 2.5% against the likes of, Matt from SSM and Bogan and Mike Vapes and stuff like that. I mean, we've got just under 600 subscribers and we're getting 2.5%, whereas the next up from us, which is Phil Brisato, has 130,000 subs.
Yeah.
So I sort of sit there and just go, what? How? What?
Also, while you're there, Best Ciggy Liquids are sponsors.
Yeah, don't forget to check them out.
Yeah.
Burn is up there, and Best, I think it's Best Online Store that they might have, but Best Bargain.
Yep.
Vapes. He's also
he's in. I think he's in three categories. He's in the tobacco. He's also in the like you say, the best budget e-liquids and something else as well. I think there's 3 that is nominated in. So yeah, go check that out. Like I say, have a look. We do promote them.
But, I mean, when it comes down to voting, it's not a huge thing to vote. But when you're, receiving the votes, as in, it's a massive boost to your motivation and probably and your business as well if you're running a business. And it's a huge thing to actually have that recognition. And even to get nominated is a big step.
It's good that you're getting thing. Shane Gibson asks, will I be getting the Aegis Boost Pro? And that is a no.
Benny's hair is in one of the categories too.
Best haircut.
Yeah,
because the Aegis, I don't get this. The Aegis Boost Pro is not a lot different. It's only a screen and a little bit bigger pod. I don't really see why they didn't bring it out as a Plus. And if they were going to bring it out, why didn't they change it to 21700? I don't. It just looks no different. To be fair,
Geekplates have been they've been one of those mod companies, I suppose, that haven't taken the jump to 21700 so much now. And I think that's mainly because most of their stuff that they're releasing now has been designed last year.
Well, their designer is now Oxford's owner, so that's why they're not doing all different. That's why Oxford are coming out with a 21700 pod mod.
Yeah, that might have been the reason why he left. Who knows?
Yeah.
They just.
Vaping Ed saying, "Hi Graham, did you get my details correct? As my juice from last week has not arrived yet."
I'll remind him again. I think you've probably sent it out. I'll just remind him again.
Yeah,
that's the link. Cheers.
Best pod, Vape Max saying best pod system on the market at the moment, in your opinion? There's a few out now, isn't there? The what is it? It's not bad. Smart Nord 2. The I don't mind the X-Rots. Iron thing.
I've got to say, I have one pod system. One, and I actually bought it for my wife, which is the Caliburn, and she refuses to use it. So.
The Caliburn G supposed to be good, the newer version of it. Yeah, there's a few out there, man. There's quite a few. There's not. I don't. The Oxford.
My best one, ironically enough, is the Boost Plus now. So.
I don't have any.
Well, yeah, mine Boost Plus is in the drawer with the Boost. Because
you got a box.
I put pods with all the tobacco vapes that I vape.
Oh, Smart Vapor saying he still had not had his price from episode 27. Was that? I don't know. You'll have to chase that up, Graham. Smart Vapor.
Smart Vapor.
Smart Vapor.
Graham will be on it. So we have got some giveaway. We'll do, because we're coming up to 10 o'clock. Bloody hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flying.
Well, we got started a little late. And then,
started like 10 minutes late. So we'll have to
Bobo in
do back. So what have we got, Graham? What have we got, Graham?
What have we got? As in prizes?
Yes. We have got a discount code. If you have a look in there, he has got up till 12 o'clock tonight. He's doing 33% off easy mixes.
Yeah, which are basically 100ml short fills. We have 2 old Horburns, which is listed on the best tobaccos, so you can try what the best tobacco is, and 2 lemon jizzes, so 4 winners this week.
So
the old Horburn, he said it would take a week before he can send it out, so because he's waiting for the stock to come in, but it was my suggestion. I said, why not put those up?
No, but so it is UK only, unfortunately. We will say that. So, unfortunately, if you're in any other country, it is UK based only. Thank you very much, because it's just with logistics, with shipping and things like that. So, if you put into chat, I'll put this in. We'll put.
David Mank like sheep tobacco. He said tobacco.
Sheep tobacco.
You.
New Zealand brew.
If you type that in, type that only once.
Yeah.
And
small letters.
All small letters, if you can, please. Where did name come from?
Give me
Anyway,
an extra
Simon?
L, mate. You've given me an extra L.
Have I?
Yeah, I'm a WOFTAM.
Oh, right, WOFTAM.
There's actually a meaning behind that. It's waste of fucking time and money. So.
Oh, right, there you go. Sorry, I put an L in it. I don't know. I just.
You're right, man.
Oh, well, you call WOFTAM now. Is that where it comes from?
That's cool. I'll just change it.
We'll do WOFTAM on next one. Oh dear, it's one of them nights.
Yeah,
Waste of lousy fucking time and money. How's that? We'll put the L in.
That works too, Bill.
So, have you been working on any recipes then? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I'm playing with 3 at the moment. I used to play with like 15 at a time, and I decided that I was, registering too many incomplete recipes. So I decided that I'd cut it down. I'd work on 3 at a time and keep those 3 until I got them right. I'm working on a blackberry crumble, which is really, really close. It needs a little bit more cream for me to be happy with it, and once that's done, it will probably hit Flavor Chaser and maybe Chef's. I'm not sure. I'm working on a tiki mai tai, which is a tropical punch with a bit of rum.
Nice.
Which is it's got some unusual stuff in it, like a little bit of a hibiscus and stuff like that, which is it gives it a little bit of extra dimension. So, and I've been working on and off for probably 3 years. There's a raspberry, it's a taffy candy over here called Redskins, which they've just renamed because it was culturally insensitive. It's now called Red Ripper.
Right.
And I've been working on that. I think I have about 40 versions of it.
What's that music?
Mute.
That's like bone.
Mute, Graham.
I'm thinking.
I don't know how to mute it.
Mute Zoom. You just go up and mute Zoom until.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
But yeah, they're the 3 I'm playing with at the moment. The Redskins one is going to be a while. The other 2 are probably fairly close, but it's. I tend to do way too many versions. I'm a slow developer, as in like I start on things and I might work on them for 3 or 4 months before I'm happy with them. I'm a bit too pedantic about things. And then when I test on multiple devices as well and multiple wattages. So the testing procedure takes me too long.
And that gets us to what Hooked has been trying to get Graham to ask you about, your homogenizer. So since you have that, now,
well, because we can see in your background that you've got this fantastic setup. To be fair.
Yep. There's a few homogenizers. You'll see that one there is probably the granddaddy. It'll do 30,000 RPM and it will fit a 30 mil homogenizer head, which is massive. I've also got
overcompensating.
Yeah, I'm overcompensating. I also got
the man has a small penis. Yeah,
there's a 20 mil for that as well. To give you an indication, here's the 3 of them. Here's the 2 of them with a game changer.
Wow.
So, I love my toys, and this has changed the way I mix. It's a massive thing. It'll easily do 5 liters without, it'll mix 5 liters.
Why do you need to do 5 liters?
I run a little sideline, little business on the side for local.
Okay.
Yeah, the closest vape shop to me is 180 kilometres away. So you know, I stock a bit of hardware and juice and stuff like that for locals. So, you know, I also do the one shots with chefs and DIY flavor chaser.
Yeah.
But I also have, you know, I've got about 30 or so different flavors that I put out for locals, which is kind of
Mr.
cool.
Anderson's wanting to know, have we put Bobo on furlough?
Shane Gibson thinks
says
that
he
his
thinks his girlfriend's
girlfriend
got one
has
of them with batteries.
Yeah.
No, have you found that the homogenizers do work? Have you found that it is a lot better?
It has changed my whole concept of mixing. You know, when Dan first came out with the Game Changer, he sent me one, and I could not fathom how it was doing what it was doing, and it just for me, it makes development so much easier. You know, like I can easily test 10 different variations of a mix in a day.
Wow.
You know, which is, you know, if you had to ask me a year ago, would homogenizers work? I would say, fuck no, it's just another scam. But having actually used them, I've spent a few bucks and gotten a big boy as well. You know, if you are someone who likes to do multiple mixes of the same thing to you know, variations thereof, it is a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And you know, I know Dan was talking about this 3 years ago, you know, Guitarded or now Game Changer, but he was talking about this 3 years ago, and it took him a year and a half to get the first version out, and he sent it to a few of us, and I've got to say I was pretty stunned with the results, just quietly. You know, custards that would normally sit there for, you know, 4 weeks plus were vapeable next day, but fully developed, you know, in a week or so. Which
I always think of it this way: it's like you've got like the independents, like the Rochford Project, and if you imagine the Rochford Project being able to produce juices every month instead of every 6 months,
yeah,
because he could do that with a Game Changer.
To be fair, I think once it gets going, I think a lot of companies will start using it. I do think.
Development-wise, I think a lot of the companies were I think DIY mixers were behind the curve in that, because I think a lot of the companies will already be using, you know, high-end equipment. You know, what the Game Changer did was put a piece of high-end equipment in people's hands that was at a reasonable price. I mean, if you're looking at a big boy homogenizer, all right, so that I picked this up pretty cheap. I paid $160 US for this, but and it was brand new. The guy did not know what he had, because this particular mixing head cost £2,800.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So you know, and that's the sort of, you know, it's ridiculous money unless you buy right.
Andrew Smith has just won. So what has he won, Graham?
Well, I can choose Old Auburn or Lemon Juice.
So let us know which one in the chat, Andrew. If you can let us know which one you would want, the Lemon Juice or the Old Auburn. The next, so whichever he picks, the next one will be. So if you can let us know, we'll put another one in and we can do that while we're talking. So we'll do.
We got 4 of these. Yeah.
He's getting wet.
What do we got? So the other thing, actually, if you notice, there's another one sitting next to it, the blue one here. That is basically an overhead mixer. the top speed of that one is roughly, I think it's 2,500 RPM, and you use basically a friggin' propeller on that. That's how I mix. I've actually got 6 of those. There's another couple there are away in storage, but that's how I mixed big batches prior to the homogenizer. And you know, it's
so Andrew's wanting the lemon.
Ooh, yes.
Right, so this one will be for the Old Auburn because we don't want to.
Yeah.
So the next one's for the Old Auburn, the net Old Auburn that's in the AC Click Awards. So if you type that in, please, small letters, UK only. Sorry.
UK only, and Andrew, you can't enter again. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, you can't. Yeah, Andrew, you can't enter again. Just because you've always.
Yeah, with the homogenizer, you have the choice of like which kind of hand tool you're going to use. I went for the Tack Life because it goes up to 40k revs, and I was just like, faster, faster, I want to go faster. And now I use it, well, I'm like, oh, this is scary.
yeah, so I use
as the cup heats up in your hand, you're like, that's getting hot, and then it suddenly. Because it creates a vacuum, it drags it to the bottom of the
drags it to the bottom, doesn't it?
That looks wrong, doesn't it?
But yeah, look, I use the Dremel 4000, and the reason why is because that's what's available in Australia. The tack lives and stuff like that, I would actually have to bring from the UK because of the voltage. And change the cord on it. So, you know, the Dremel was the easy choice for me. They're a little bit expensive over here, unfortunately, but, you know, which means
I think I paid $17.99 for mine in a sale.
Yeah.
I put basically it's Amazon, so I put it in the Amazon cart, and if you put it in the Amazon cart, you get a custom price every so often.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if you're thinking about a game changer or a homogenizer, do a bit of research. Like the Game Changer is really well built. There are some Chinese homogenizers that are around, and not to throw shade on them because they will do the same job, but a few guys that I know have them and they work perfectly. The one issue that I can see with them though is the bearings that they use, or the guides that they use. In the Chinese one, there is only one, which is right at the base here. With the Game Changer, there's support at the bottom and the top, so you don't get that wobble in the shaft. That's the only problem that I can see with the Chinese ones, and I think they're around 200 US, something like that as well. So, I mean, they're a good buy.
Some women like that wobbling shaft.
Well, some people do. but yeah, look, I mean, I just think that for longevity, you know, I know on the Chinese ones they actually give you spare bushes, which should be an indication that
spare bush and a wobbling shaft.
So it should be an indication that will wear out, and the fact that they.
He does, Steve. He does. You know, he likes a wobbly shaft.
Yes, and a spare bush.
And a spare bush.
Well, if you're going to have a wobbly shaft, you better have a spare in case you hit the sides and kind of burn it.
I thought the whole object was to hit the sides.
It looks like Bobo's having some real problems tonight. So sorry about that. Like I say, he's just had super fast broadband put in that's potato.
Yeah.
It's paying for the potato.
Simon, tell us about the OGA. You've just been going through all the alphabets and everything like that.
Yep. We hit the last.
Have you found any of those star flavors?
Oh, look, I mean, what I wanted to do, and we just got pressed for time, is I wanted to have all of us, and Tam, you know, it was Tam's idea originally, but to have each one of us do a short segment on our star flavor in each category, because there are some in every group. There are those standout flavors which, you know, for me are must-haves. You know, what we're going to be doing now is a little bit freeform. We'll be talking about calculators today, which should be interesting. We're going to do a bit of a three-way compare between VC, ELR, and ATF. Pluses and minuses on all of them. I'm going to be a little bit biased. I imagine Pugs is going to be a little bit biased as well, but
a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, just a touch. But I mean, I've been heavily involved with ELR for a long time now. I'm actually one of the mods there, although I'm not as active now because of other things, like with VC and running the business and stuff like that. So I sort of run out of a little bit of time, but I still love ELR and I still love a lot of the people there because it's a great community. I just think that VC is a better community.
So some of the star flavors. You five star flavors.
All right, 5-star flavors.
Just a second, I'll roll this one first because we've only got 15 minutes and I've got to get these to. So I'll roll that. Mark H.
Mark H.
Boom.
So you were getting the. So that one was for the old oven.
It gives me thinking time to think about my favourites too.
Yeah.
So that's not a big.
So now I'll get another one going. Is this the lemon again? And then lemon and back.
We'll put.
All right, you got your pen ready, Graham, because you're going to go and buy all these. You know that.
My internet doing my fucking head in.
Oh, probably not. Some of them you won't have. Some of them you won't have.
If you type that one.
Bobo's back for a second.
And the next one will be Bobo's gone again. He's back, but he's not right now. He's
a bit frozen right now. Must be cold.
He doesn't half look like Twitter's CEO, doesn't he?
All one word. If you put Bobo's sack, yeah.
That's giving you more time to think of five flavors.
Yeah. I know a couple of the ones that I'm going to mention. Now, over in the UK, they're going to be a little bit hard to get, some of them, and they tend to be very expensive but very worthwhile, in my opinion. There's my favourite all-time chocolate, and I do like a chocolate vape, and I know a lot of people don't, is Medicine Flower dark chocolate. It is the most well-rounded chocolate that there is on the market, and you're going to get away with about 0.6 for a full-on chocolate.
Hold up, because this one hasn't worked. I think because I've done it too many times. Wait a second. Stop putting it in. You have to put it in a second.
Bobo's back.
When you have to wait a minute, I'll have to.
Just you put the word Bobo in it, and it won't even work either. So
as soon as I hear the word medicine flower,
right, hold up. Wait a minute. Stop your Bobo's back. You'll have to do it again.
Yeah, no more Bobo's back.
Let's see if that's right. Someone type.
Reading that as Bobo's sack.
Right, yep, it's all right now. If you type it in again, please.
Yeah, and small letters. You can just go back up and get it from where it's before and copy paste it and put it back in again. That'll.
Now, I know a lot of people's reluctance to go with a medicine flower. Because the buy-in on it is huge. Like, I mean, you're looking at $20 for 15 mil. But your usage is quite low, which makes it quite economical. And if you are after pure joy with your flavors, then, some of the medicine flowers are, second to none. I nailing down 5 flavors is super duper hard.
We did it to Nick, but we gave him 8. I think we did it to Liam as well.
I'd have to go for a custard. It's a toss-up for me between the premium custard from Flavour Art, Inawera custard, also make a great meal.
I like that for Premier because yay!
Oh, yes,
both superb custards. Throw them both together and you get something really special.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I do.
That is a great combination. And as far as custards go, there's a bit of a dark horse too. Is the Wonder Flavors vanilla custard, which is fantastic custard and really quite underrated.
I recently got that, but I haven't really kind of taken it out and used it properly.
It's a great custard and it's a little bit underrated. So you sort of between those three, I think you've pretty much covered all the custards. And I know, yes, I hear what you're saying, Stuart. And yes, $20 is steep for 15 mil. But if you buy right, then that 15 mil is the same as buying 100 mil of like a TPA. So, when it comes down to it, yeah, the buy-in is steep as hell. But sometimes, it's, and if you research properly, there's like, take MF lemon, fantastic lemon. Usage is between 0.05 and 0.1.
Yeah, it's going to last you a while then, isn't it?
Yeah. So you 15 mil, if you did a 10% dilution, you've got 150 mil of concentrate that you're going to use at 1%. Yes, the buy-in is a bit of a bastard because it is high, but when you talk, percentage usage, it actually makes it an economic buy. And plus the flavors of primo on some of them. I don't know. I'm probably up to 10 already of my 5 favorites.
Yeah. I can't think of 5, but I'll give you 10 instead.
Yeah.
Probably one of my most used concentrates is Flavora Sweet Coconut.
All right.
Not necessarily for a coconut. If you add a little tiny bit of Flavora Sweet Coconut to a custard mix or a cream, it gives it massive amounts of body and creaminess.
Right.
And it works with a lot of custards. If you add a coconut to them, it works with a lot of coconuts. You add a little bit of coconut to something, and the mouthfeel increases, and you get that creaminess in a cream that you don't normally get. If you've ever tried Yes with Cheesecake from Inawera, that has a coconut note in it. That coconut note in it is actually there to cream it up,
right? To
give it body and creaminess. So generally, if I've used a cream or I'm going for a custard, I will throw in a bit of coconut. It's just
winner for that one is Elizabeth Thompson.
Woohoo!
That is your winner. So that is for the lemon jizz.
Yes. We got one more to go.
You have 2 left.
I've got 2 left, have I? Now, pushing the friendship. Butterscotch and caramel should be only ever seen as one concentrate. So when you
next one. If you want to type that in, type it once, small letters, top 10.
Who doesn't love a creamy body? You're right, Steve. Everyone.
Yeah, if you want to donate it to Kara, can't even say it then. Yeah.
Is that Kara Reviews?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So butterscotch, caramel, I see as one entity because I've never used one without the other. If you want the butterscotch forward, obviously you go more butterscotch, a little bit less caramel, or vice versa. They work really well together. Big fan of Flavor Arts caramel and big fan of Flavora's butterscotch. They're 2 for desserts that I use quite often. Going through recipes though and picking out what you use the most is actually quite hard. The next concentrate, and the last one that I'll mention, and I use this in a combination always as well, is Flavor Art Forest Fruit. Now, a lot of people hate that concentrate, but for me, it is a fantastic concentrate, and I almost always use it with Over.
Yeah.
Now, Over is a really underutilized thing, and it's friggin' delicious. Even as a standalone, I like it. It's like a vanilla hard shell kind of candy mixed with a cream soda.
Yeah, that forest fruit I put up in Monkey on Juice. Every so often I'll stick a star flavor up, and I put the flavor out of forest fruits up there as a star flavor.
The most popular juice that I make is actually has forest fruit and over in it, and that shit just flies off the shelf.
Rocky Tooney wants to know if butterscotch can be used for a butter note in a recipe.
Yeah, the butterscotch, the Flavora butterscotch is buttery, but I wouldn't use it for a butter note.
That's my favorite butterscotch.
Yeah, is that
Salute?
Yep, Salute caramel. Yeah,
Salute caramel.
Yeah,
I was like that going, oh great, I've got this caramel, it tastes butterscotch.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, if instead of, when I get a bunch of concentrates, and it's something that you should have a try of, when you get them, blind sniff them, right? You know what you bought, just don't look at the label, open it, sniff it. If you can identify it, generally it's a good match to what the label is. There are some things like that caramel that as you said, it's more of a butterscotch than a caramel. It's like an overcooked caramel. It's gone that little bit further, and it's a fantastic flavor. But you should use a flavor for what it tastes like, not what it says it is.
Yeah.
If that
I keep on. The thing is, now I know what that tastes like, but some of them have actually put separate labels on to change the names.
Yeah, but some will smell like one thing and taste like something entirely different. Also, I got the creamsicle, the orange creamsicle, and if you smell it, it smells just like an orange creamsicle. You vape it, and it tastes nothing like it smells.
You've made the. Is that ready to taste?
No, that'll be next week. Next week.
Orange has always been a bit of a tough ask with any flavor concentrate, because for me, when you get an orange, for me, most of the oranges have a orange Tic Tac sort of vibe to them, like an orange. They taste like a bit like an orange Tic Tac.
Yeah.
And to find a proper orange is never going to be it's never going to be a one concentrate thing. The orange creamsicle, there was a thread on VC a while back making the ultimate orange creamsicle. And it was a community sort of throw in your ideas. Having never had a real orange creamsicle, I was a little bit behind the eight ball and was asking questions of what does the orange taste like? Yeah. And how someone describe how an orange tastes. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what's asking, Bill? How much is a 60 ml?
How much do I pay for a 60 ml bottle? To be honest with you, I haven't bought any in so long. I don't remember how. It's been over a year since I bought a bottle of juice. Basically, I usually was getting like 100 ml for about, I'm thinking around $20 for 100 ml, somewhere in that range, depending if you picked it up. If it was a bargain thing, you got it for 9 or 10. Otherwise, you're paying 20. Yeah, I just did that, and what I did that was Zippy said the sweet tangerine, And so I put some sweet tangerine in it to try to kind of calm that. Because when I first start with that, if I vape it too early, it's zest, orange zest. And if I let it sit for a while, it goes to baby aspirin. You know, that orange kind of
the artificial sort of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an orange, reconstituted orange drink.
Yes. That set out overnight by your bed and then you drink it the next morning. Yeah, that one.
So, look, I know there's a couple of peeps over at ELR and who are now at BC as well who have played extensively with oranges and still haven't really hit that.
No,
sweet spot for oranges.
I'm thinking it's just a no-go most likely, but I'm going to give it just one more shot and then I'm sending it to Zippy.
If you want a really good orange vape, and it is an orange Tic Tac recipe, and it is absolutely banging. It is precisely what it says it is, and that's Heading Clouds did an orange Tic Tac years ago, and to date it is still the best orange Tic Tac that I've ever tasted in a juice. So, and I still make that for myself every so often, have a bit of a whack on that, and satisfy my orange craving for a little bit. But Heading Clouds orange Tic Tac is bang on for what it is.
You say her name and she shows up. She's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Hello, Zippy.
Yeah, Zippy. Eddie M, if you can say get in touch with us or Best Sig Liquid, do you want to drop it in?
Who won then?
Eddie M.
Right.
And that's for the old album.
You get that in just in time. We just hit the 9-0 mark.
I'm all organised. I'm amazed.
Look at that. Sorry about that, because you're on the floor then, but I just wanted to get that last one out before...
No, you got to get your giveaway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, I'll have to tell Andy stop giving us 4 to give away. Give us 2 so we can get on with the show.
Oh, you can combine them if we wanted to. You could have done one lemon jizz with each one. Just had 1 and 1 for 2 gifts. But
well, the great thing about it, because it's oh no, I haven't changed.
I'll read it. I'm all right, mate. I'm just letting everything flow. I don't want to interrupt everything when people are on flow, and it's not that I'm
the great thing about it, we had a reviewer win last week for the lemon jizz, and Kira's been gifted it for the lemon jizz.
Yeah, no, that's fine. She gives it. No, that's fine. She gets in touch.
But what's the profile on it? Is it like a lemon sherbet, lemon sorbet, or something like that?
I think I think they're going head to head with the Rochford Project's
Lemon Lush, which is a lemon drizzle cake.
Lemon curd.
How's he going with his lemon curd? He's doing that. Well, that's with his.
I think they're going head to head with the Rochford Project with it, and they're getting good. They're getting good feedback from it. Remember they've got their set of mixers, and which are constantly mixing for them.
Yeah.
Now
constantly stuff.
How Zippy could say, "Hey, Kentucky Bill, Simon, Net Reality," and then Mick. Mick has no hair. Benny has the best hair on the internet. But somehow she got you as Mick.
We saw that. I can't have it cut yet because flipping hairdressers aren't open, are they?
I actually get a bit fluffy myself. I need to pull out the clippers and do some stuff.
Mine's getting a bit 80s. I'm starting to get. What do you call that? When it's a mullet.
A mullet.
Oh, mate, it's the new bogan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah, bogan look.
Just Graham, just a little tattoo on the neck there, mate. You should be fine.
Yeah, just.
And Mullock shows up in chat.
Yeah, exactly. So, how are you finding it over there in Australia? Has it quiet down a little bit, or they're still jumping around, or?
Look, we've got the Senate inquiry which is going on at the moment, which there's back in June, Greg Hunt, our health minister, decided without consulting anyone that he was just going to ban the importation of nicotine. Massive blowback and underestimation of what the vaping community over here was about, and that got reversed and then postponed to January 1st. that has now been scrapped.
Oh, has it been scrapped now altogether?
That particular, the government has decided that the way to go forward in banning or prohibition is to leave it in the hands of our TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, which is the same as the FDA, essentially.
Yeah.
And they are planning to reschedule nicotine into prescription only and go with a prescription only model. As a result of that, there's a Senate inquiry which is going on as we speak. They're going to be reporting mid-December as to what they think, whether nicotine liquid should be a consumer product or a prescription only model. We're all hoping desperately that they go with consumer product, because the prescription model is just, it's unworkable. There's 10 doctors in Australia that can prescribe nicotine for 500,000 vapors.
Yeah.
Could you become Dr. WOFTAM?
Sorry?
Could you become Dr. WOFTAM?
Yeah, well, yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
Jack's asking whereabouts are you in Oz?
I'd be writing scripts like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, look.
Vaping Max asking whereabouts are you?
Where am I?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Southern Australia, down in Victoria, about 190 k's northeast of Melbourne. So it's funny, actually. Every time I've logged into the show, I've seen Scott Morrison log in, and that's actually the name of our Prime Minister. So I'm sorry, Scott, if I don't talk to you. Nothing personal.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I mean, the Liberal government, which is in at the moment, there was a massive backbench revolt against Greg Hunt, where 28 or 30 MPs co-signed a letter to him saying, this is ridiculous that you are making something that is an off-road harder to get than cigarettes. And that's where the Senate inquiry is actually coming into it. And fortunate or unfortunate, there's a fair balance between with the senators who are pro-vaping and who are anti-vaping, and there's a couple that could go either way. So we're hoping that common sense sort of prevails, and the Australian government pulls their head out of their arse and does the right thing. I mean, if you look at the smoking rates in the UK versus Australia, the decline in the smoking rates, Australia used to be the leader in tobacco control and dipping in the smoking rates. And over the last, say, 4 years or 3 years, our smoking rate has declined by 0.6%. Whereas the UK has declined by something like 5% or so. They're saying that up to 70,000 people a year are quitting using vaping over in the UK. But it's a testament to Australia and Australian vapers that there are actually 500,000 of us, because the government has made it so damn hard for us to do it.
Yeah.
That that 500,000 people have taken the step, jumped through all the hoops that the government has made us jump through, and have gotten off the smoke. So I think is an amazing result. Imagine if it was fully sanctioned by the government and nicotine liquid was available in vape shops. It would change the whole dynamic of Australia and the number of people smoking. Yeah. Particularly in the low socioeconomic group, which is, you might say in Australia, sorry to rabbit on a bit, but
no,
it's kind of close to my heart, this one, but like say the percentage of Australians that smoke now is somewhere, I think, around the 14% mark. So, roughly 2.5 million people. Those 2.5 million people pay $17 billion in tobacco excise per year. It's the fourth biggest tax in Australia. Now, the government is running scared because that's $17 billion they won't have to balance the budget if everyone gave up smoking tomorrow. It's a pretty scary thought for them, but they're not seeing the upside to the lesser amount that they'll have to pay out to health and well-being of its citizens. So
yeah, nice.
You know, yeah. So look, we're hoping desperately that the Senate inquiry comes down on our side. We're hoping desperately, but probably clutching at straws that the TGA aren't going to keep their heads in their butts and reschedule nicotine as prescription only. But stranger things have happened, and the Australian vapors, being 500,000 of us, it's not a small number as a voting bloc. So we're hoping that they see common sense and things
hopefully
come down.
It'll sort out. Upton Funk's just put in a good one. If you click on that link, it's that No Nicotine. It's a film that's out. Apparently, I haven't watched it yet. It's supposed to be really good. So maybe you want to check out that if you want to look at a bit more in depth into nicotine. Obviously, it is Black Friday coming up, so is deals on.
There's Chef's Flavors.
Yep.
It's got deals on. Nom Noms, when it comes back, will have deals on.
Obviously, Best Siglif has got deals on. Nicotine, is it Nicotine Hub has put one out 33% off?
Nicotine Hub is 30% off at the moment.
Yeah.
Whole city's 30% off here right now.
Yeah. I think the best one that I've seen it's got to be Chef's. Yeah. Chef's has just reduced everything right across the board.
Including 20%. Shameless plug here, Mr. Fog One Shots.
Exactly, yeah. Check out the OGA's One Shots lines in there from Zippy. If you look under all on different names, but if you look for Simon's got some there. Stuart's asking, would Australia be happy if they went along with the lines of TPD2?
At this stage, we would be happy with anything other than the prescription model. The fact that to get nicotine here, you have to have a prescription, you have to personally import it, and you can only import a 3-month supply.
Yeah, that would.
And no one's determined what a 3-month supply is. There's no guideline as to what a 3-month supply is, aside from what your doctor recommends. And getting to a doctor is pretty hard. I've had nicotine seized by customs, as have a lot of people, and I've got a prescription. And there was no way for me to contact customs and show them my prescription. They just seized it and destroyed it, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
It just sends it underground, and that's you cannot regulate something that is the black market.
Yeah.
So sensible regulation, and at this stage, vapors would entertain any regulation, provided it was reasonable and not.
Yeah. I'd say I never understand why they don't just tax it a little bit.
Well, I mean, the one thing they've got to do, and I agree with you, yeah, sure, tax it, but please make sure that you tax it at less than cigarettes.
Yeah.
We have the highest price for cigarettes in the world.
I can't do anything about it on my channel.
but our cigarette price increases by 12.5% every single year on the 1st of September. And it has done that for the last probably 8-9 years. Currently $50 for a packet of cigarettes. So
how much is e-liquid over there, Simon? Stuart asking.
It depends. It depends. Imported stuff is a bit exy simply because of the import. Yet Australian liquid is roughly the same price as the UK. You're probably looking at 30, the equivalent 30 quid for a 120ml bottle, somewhere around there. It's certainly not budget, but I mean, it's something that you have to deal with simply because the shipping to Australia is what kills you. Quite often you do an order for flavors and the shipping costs more than the flavors.
Yeah.
If you go to Chef's, obviously, you got pretty much flat rate shipping, which is great for Australia because you can put in a fairly large order and have it shipped to you for, I think, 12 quid or 15 quid, which is pretty reasonable. But you get something out of the States that might only be available in the States, and you might pay $140 for a litre of concentrate. which it gets a little bit expensive, and that translates obviously to the juice prices. You know, and even VTA, like VTA being an Australian company, have some great flavors, but I can buy VTA at Chef's for less than I can buy it here.
Wow, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Ridiculous.
You know, like, and that's direct from VTA. You know, like, and I sit there and scratch my head and said, how does that work? But you know, the price is what it is. You know, it costs you a little bit more to produce. Bottle-wise, the bottles come from the US, you know, Chubby Gorilla and all that sort of stuff, so they're a bit more expensive with shipping and all that sort of stuff. So it all does add up, you know, and you know, you see people complain about the price of juice, you know, and it is what it is. If you like the juice, you pay them, you pay the price. That's just how it is. You know, if you like a particular profile that a juice company in Australia makes, then that's what the price is. You know, don't bitch and moan about it if you like the juice. If you want to try other juices that you don't like so much, that cost less, do that too. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so we have made up the little bit that was late starting now, because it is now nearly quarter. So we will wrap it up because we're going over a little bit. So we will go around and say us goodbye. So we'll start with Bill.
Once again, we start with Bill. Thanks a lot, Simon, for stopping on and all of your insight, and at least picking one flavor, the Inawera custard, that I like. Thanks, Chad, for all the input and everything and the questions, and even for you few greedy people like Hooked on Funk who are there just for the notoriety. And I will pass it over to Graham. Every out.
Okay, thanks, Simon, for coming on. It's been fascinating. Thank you, chat. Remember, competitions winners. I'll just post the email to send it over just in case. If you can send it over as quick as possible, we can get it to you as quick as possible. I can send it all in one go. Remember, there's Black Friday sales on. If you join Monkey on Juice on Facebook, I'd be putting up the kind of sales of the liquid, of the flavors as they come in. There was something else, but I've forgotten. So there is something else. I'll pass it on to
He was going to tell you,
Simon.
Frank is going to be the guest on Sunday night's
No,
late night vape show.
Oh, okay. There you go. I'll pass it over to Simon, and I'll try to remember.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Been
a blast. Been a blast. And remember, please, guys, if you get the chance, EC Click Awards, Vaping Community, Steam Pugs, and OGA, if you can spare the votes, and pick out your favourites, because it is massive for the recipients. And remember to confirm your email address too. And one last thing, shameless plug, while you're at Chef's and they've got the massive sale on, drop on by, grab some Mr. Fog e-liquid, or drop by on DIY Flavor Chaser and grab some there too. So thanks for having me, guys. It's been excellent.
No problems. Thank you very much. Right, so thank you very much, Simon, for coming. It's been absolutely fantastic. It has flown. It's absolutely flown. So it's good to have you on. We'll definitely have you back on again at some point.
Be happy to.
And have another chat with you. Thank you, everybody in chat, for keeping up with us and bearing with us. Sorry, Bobo, we're dropping in and out, but obviously these things happen. So hopefully he'll be back good to go when he sorts his internet out next week. Don't forget to check out our sponsor up till 12 o'clock, and he's got the 33% off on Easy Mixes, so go check them out. Do give them some love, like I say, with the EC Click Awards, obviously Steam Pugs. Yeah, mate, if you want to give it to member at Misfit, it's up to you, mate, no problems. It says, Eddie M's just said, can he also give mine to a member of the Misfits? So yeah, no problem.
Just send me an email.
If you love something, give them a bit of support, because it means a lot to the recipients.
Exactly. So yeah, so these some there. When you go over EC Click, have a look down, and don't forget, just if you just can't think, just obviously do support the community. We'll be on next week. We will be back next Wednesday, same time. I think we've got what is on next week, haven't we?
We've got Scuba.
We've got Scuba on next week. So that'll be a good show. So don't forget, if you've got any
OGA
questions, do
tonight
put 'em in chat.
at OGA tonight at what, midnight?
Midnight,
UK time?
Yeah.
And, 7 US time.
Yeah, so if
Eastern.
you're up and about UK time, and you've nothing else to do 12 o'clock, do check out OGA. I have put, the link will come up. It has come up with WOFTAM thing. Daytime Frank just
You say these names and these people show up, you know. It's just like, well,
Right, so we will be back on next week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're out of here. So see you all later.
See you guys. See you in an hour or so.